Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 360. Don't worry, Zoho will translate it for Friday, June 20th, 2025. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Tyler Colt
Greg Belnap, and let's get right on into the show.
No, we can't get on with the show. By the way, Tina and I are in Tuscany. But before we do the show, let's do the gritty.
Oh, he's hitting the gritty.
Oh. All right, now get on with the show. See you guys soon.
That's a surprise to me. Didn't know he was going to be peeking in this week. For audio listeners, you just missed Greg or Brett hitting the gritty, and then closing it out with his signature, Mike Myers, Austin Powers. Anytime that Brett dances, he will always do that move. So definitely check out the YouTube at least for that one.
Yes. Wow. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any more unhinged than that. Thanks, Brett, for taking us right up to max right off the bat.
I know. Well, with that, I think we're ready to get right on into the show. But first, a quick word from our sponsors, us.
Who is Zenatta? We are the #1 Zoho premium partner in the Americas, consisting of a diverse team of 25 plus employees who are experts in over 45 plus Zoho applications, including CRM, projects, desk, campaigns, analytics, sales IQ, books, inventory, and more. Our team of experts also specializes in custom creator applications, custom web and marketing solutions, and the Zoho Finance Suite. But most importantly, we understand how all of this ties into our clients' business needs. We have over 1,000 plus clients across dozens of industries, ranging from a few employees to thousands, with over 5 new clients onboarded every week. And boy, do these clients love what we did for them. So whether you're just getting started with Zoho or need to optimize your existing setup, our team is here to help. Ready to unlock Zoho's full potential? Book a meeting with our experts today at zenatta.com and let's build a system that works for you.
All right, so let us jump on in here. It's been a couple weeks since Zoho has rolled out a new app, so feels like a good time for it. This is Zoho Translate, your ultimate privacy-focused translation app. Definitely an interesting one. I mean, obviously in the world of AI, it does a pretty good job translating. I would assume behind the scenes, they're probably using Zia or maybe like their open source, Llama one that they've been using a bit for this. And I think really with translation apps, it really comes down at a certain point to the UI built around it and the features included, because all these tools, let's be honest, they're going to be using one of a few different models. They're all going to do a pretty darn good job at the translation. I will say, I like some of the features that they've included with this. Like they show here, like, hey, take a picture of a sign through the app, pick which words on it you're looking to translate, and then it will just translate them for you. Like I could imagine using that while I'm traveling easily. Point, scan, and translate. So any document, right? Just like hold the phone over it, it'll grab it. And then down here at the bottom, honestly, when I quickly glanced at this one, I thought it was like an error in their image.
The picture was upside down?
Yeah, I thought the picture is upside down. For those listening, what it is, essentially imagine you cut your phone vertically in half. The top half is upside down and pointed towards who you're talking to. The bottom half is right side up, pointed towards you. And then little microphone buttons where you can each press to talk, and then it will translate it into the other language, directionally facing who you're talking to. So honestly, pretty cool. Again, it all comes down to assuming that the translation is good, which it very likely is. Really cool. Just a free little app, free, all features, no limits. It seems like one that they're doing maybe for a little marketing, like, hey, what's this Zoho thing? And then maybe people learn a little bit more about the platform as a whole, but definitely a cool one.
Yeah. It's, you were talking about the UI and the features around it. I will say that the voice that because it will do a text to speech for you, so that like the one you were talking about, the having a conversation with somebody where you can say something in English to it, it will translate it into Japanese or Portuguese or Spanish, whatever. And then it will play an audio version of that translated thing to the person you're speaking to. But the text to speech for those foreign language models are, the pretty not old, but I guess I'll just say old for lack of a better term. But it's like the very robotic sounding and it sounds like a robot underwater. So
yep.
So just know that if you want to use that auto feature, it's probably easier if you just show them the phone so that they can just read what it says. That and for some of the languages languages that don't use the Arabic alphabet, so like Japanese or Hindi, things like that, it doesn't show you a romanized version of it. So if you translate something into Japanese to pass on to somebody else, it's all in, kanji and hiragana and stuff like that. You can't. So if I wanted to translate it and I wanted to know how would I say this, it would be nice if you could see both the native writing system as well as
how would I sound it out? If I wanted to speak it myself. Got it. Yeah. I have noticed with most of the AI voice tools, the only one that's really impressed me is GPT has their new voice model. I don't know if you've played with that at all. Sometimes while I'm cooking, I'll have it on. If I have some idea for a project to work on, I'll just be talking to it. It's weirdly good. It is weirdly human the way that one speaks. And that's the first one that I've heard where it's wow. But again, with these tools, they always get better and better over time. I think this is a cool one. And again, at the end of the day, it's just totally free. I don't even think there's a paid version. So if you need a quick and easy translation tool, give this one a shot and let us know what you think. Always curious to hear from you guys. All right, next one up here, quick update in Wizards in CRM. So Wizards, of course, is kind of a way to break a long form or record into different pages and sets of fields across multiple screens. 9 times out of 10, these are going to be used for the creation of a record, but you can actually open up into edit view and jump back into them. So what they've done here is now added sections. So honestly, if you had asked me a week ago if sections existed in Wizards, I definitely would have said yes. I would have been wrong. What sections are here is basically groups of fields rather than having to put everything into one. So as you see here on YouTube, we've got this other section for required documents in addition to they're using student information. Or you can break things down just into multiple different components just to kind of section things out a little bit better, get them into logical groups, make it a little easier to fill out. And then, of course, these do apply for conditional rules. That's kind of the main way I would imagine needing to use this is hey, what type of student are you? I am or I am not using financial aid. Okay, you are. Well, here's a financial aid section, right? That could pop up. So nice one here. Again, would have bet money that this already existed, but I would have lost my money. So that's why I don't place too many bets in my life.
Yep. And so it operates exactly the same as you've already used sections in just the normal layout editor for a module. Yep. So now it's also in Wizards. I guess it must not have been too much in demand up until this point.
I guess so. Well, I guess to Zoho's credit, I think a main way that a lot of people use Wizards is each section that you would have on your record layout is a page. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10 when I've seen a wizard in use, it's not a lot of fields per page because that's the goal of having a wizard. So I think the conditional is really where I would think you need to have this because otherwise I guess you could just associate 5 fields with a layout rule, but then they're just bolting onto the bottom of a section, just not as clean of a UI. So
and especially that if you add a field somewhere to the wizard, then you got to go and if you have multiple condition rules, you have to now go and check every condition rule and add that new field and everything like that. Whereas if you all tie it to a section, then as you add or remove fields from that section, you don't got to change any conditions. Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. Next one here, this is really nice. One of the nicer updates I've seen for CRM, especially when it comes to the new revamped UI. So this is in CRM for everyone. This is what they're calling the Interactions tab inside of CRM. It is essentially a subset of your timeline, but it's broken down just for things that pertain to customer interactions. So those who use the timeline know that it does get a little bit cluttered when it comes to a workflow firing off goes into the timeline. Every single update to a field that you've ever made goes into the timeline. Anytime that a function fires, so let's say that you're messing with some new number fields and it's retotaling, every single retotal is a line item in the timeline. So if you're just looking to see like, hey, tell me the story, what the heck went on with this client from the perspective of our engagement with them, timeline is what you're going to use. It kind of breaks down into 3 categories. One is signals. This is like the customer's response or interaction with your outreach. The follow-ups are like what we did. So the follow-up is I placed a call. The signal is they answered the call, right? You can imagine the same thing with email. But they do have one other little sneaky thing that they've added here, which they're calling milestones, which is basically anytime that a pick list option is changed for a history-enabled pick list, so this would be like lead status would be an obvious example. It's also going to stamp that in and give you some insights in how many touch points happened before and after that particular update to that field. This is really getting to that place where a lot of the times, I think a CRM that does this really well is HubSpot, where you look at like a particular deal and it's like, it just shows it front and center. Like, here's all the interactions we've ever had with them. And a lot of people love that. So I think there's going to be a similar thing here where you're going to be able to put this in. Think about using this in a canvas view where you can make it front and center, kind of to recreate some of that UI. But yeah, really, really cool update.
Yeah, this really goes in line with one of the most common implementations that we'll do for folks is they want some kind of field asking about like, what was the last touch point on this contact or this account or this deal? Because there is a last activity time field built into the CRM, but it included, any edits to the record where when most salespeople are talking about a touch point, they mean like a piece of communication of some kind. And so this is really nice that they're including this, and especially that it's filterable. I think that's really, really awesome job there to add that in. It the UI of it reminds me a lot of, if any of you have worked in Zoho campaigns, you can go to like the contact history will have this same kind of like vertical timeline going down, showing all the main interactions with the particular contact. So really good addition.
One thing I'll also call out here is that this isn't just for like those traditionally CRM touch points. They're including desk tickets, survey responses, backstage, so like event attendance, webinar. The one that I don't see, weirdly enough, is campaigns. I would definitely think that like a marketing email would go into this category. So maybe that's going to be something added later. But I do really like this as a way to bring that all together. Like if you think about a contact record and you want to know your history of interaction with them, well, that can happen across emails, calls, survey, desk, webinar, and backstage. A lot of those in a normal view are going to go into totally separate related lists. So if you just want like a chronology of what all happened, what are all the interaction points with this customer, you got to be like, we've seen It's Always Sunny with Charlie and the corkboard and the red lines, kind of trying to connect the dots from all these different related lists versus here you just go in, it's like, hey, here it is, right? Here's the sequence of events that occurred. So yeah, really nice. I think a lot of people are going to love this one. I'd imagine this could be one of those updates that really like draws people to the new UI because it is only going to be supported for CRM for everyone. All right, next one up here is a nice one too. I mean, they're kind of on a hot streak here this week. So empowered custom views, we're looking at cross-module criteria supported in Zoho CRM. What the heck am I talking about here? But this is the huge one, so stick with us. basically what this means is I can go into a custom view. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see this. And traditionally, the only things I could have in a custom view were things that were directly associated or directly stored in that record. So if I'm in a contact, I filter on fields in a contact. I can't filter on fields in an account, right? That like parent record. Now you can, right? So this eliminates the need to write an arbitrary script that like pulls that data in just so I can use it in a custom view. I can now just bring this in from a particular related record and make sure that I have that all included as part of my custom view. Looks like you can use child records here. So I'm looking at like a contact with a deal in a stage, right? Really, really nice. You can imagine using this for your follow-ups, for your chase downs, for some mass emailing. Also looks like it supports subforms as well. So again, I've seen people begging for this before of like, hey, give me a list of sales orders where I've added the items already, right? You've never really been able to do that unless you put in some type of script that like arbitrarily writes data to that record to let it know. So really cool. Very excited for this one.
Yeah, this one is some people will recognize that you did have some related module filtering capabilities already in the quick filters tab over on the left, right? You know, where there were a couple of built-in things like, you know, accounts with a contact or, you know,
deals with
contacts with a deal. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But that only worked in those quick filters. And so you had to have like kind of saved filters that you'd have to turn on with your custom views. So just really, really good move here of getting this figured out. I guess the next step would be looking up to parent records because they got the children records, which is great. I mean, I guess you probably can already, because I know they've added the lookup fields, right, where you can pull a fields of a lookup, but I don't know if you can use those in a custom view comparison yet. But
big one here is, like Greg mentioned, you do have the ability to do this for related records, not for subforms, but you do have the ability to do this in the quick filters, but those are set up per user. So if you have a 30-person sales team, you're going in and helping them all set that up, or you're sending out a video recording of how to do it. This you can just turn on, deploy for everybody. And then one other little thing for the nerds in the room, keep in mind, you can do a get records from a custom view, right? So you can actually get away with like kind of a low-level COQL query just set up in a custom view. Like I know we've set up COQLs to get contacts with deals in a certain stage before, right? Like there's no way we haven't done that. And now you could hypothetically just set up this view and then query the view based on the view ID. So overall, like lots of different ways I could imagine using this one. Really, really excited to see it roll out. Now, a couple more quick ones here. So Zoho Analytics is a pretty funny one. It's now going to send an email when you invite people to join an organization or a workspace. Previously, you would just add them and then they would have access. Now they're going to get an email, confirm that they are who they're supposed to be, and then it will actually have them join the organization. So pretty minor one, but really it just means you now have to click through the email and kind of confirm it. They're saying this is a security thing. I guess it's just that confirmation that they have access to that mailbox, or like if you had a typo, I guess. Maybe you could educate me on the security benefit for this, because you're just adding an email address one way or another. But I guess it's got to be like confirming they have access to that inbox adds just one more extra layer.
Yeah, I think, so I think what you said of accidentally sending something, an invitation to the wrong email. It's like, oh, my email. Now, if it's all internal email, so I could see this especially for like if you had external people that you provide access to, because you can do that, right? Like you can add like an external user who's not part of your organization and domain, and the possibility of getting that email wrong and just giving a random person access. But you could also then just kind of revoke that access. So I think this is probably more a thing on Zoho's side of just kind of managing like server usage and stuff like that, that for them, it's probably like, well, like every, like 2 times out of 10, they invite somebody to analytics and then that person just never goes in. And so they're like, let's just send out an invitation. That person never clicks on accept, and we don't have to allocate any server power or server space to that user.
Serving that user. Yeah, it can't hurt. So yeah, just a minor one there. Probably isn't going to make or move the needle for many, but we thought we would include it. Last one up here is smart scheduling for Zoho FSM. Seems like the big thing here is field agents being able to approve or reject service appointments. So this is one where, maybe you schedule something for, Greg to go on site and do like some type of site survey. Greg knows he's double booked at that time. Previously, he'd have to email me. I'd go in. I'd say, okay, I'd have to reassign it. He's not available. Here, he can just say like, no, dude, you kind of messed this one up. Like, there's no way I can make it there on time based on my current day's allocation. So you can just come in, approve or reject that. Everybody gets their appropriate notifications. It also does give you the ability, if you had assigned it to someone and you change your mind, like, you know what, I assigned it to Greg, then I double checked and I'm like, oh, wait a second, like he's way too busy that day. I can pull it back before they accept or decline it and reassign it to somebody else. So really the big thing here, and I always appreciate this, is like for a core part of the workflow, like confirming I can get to a place on time, it should be native in the application wherever possible and not require like an email, a text, a click message. Just because, again, now you have a trigger that you can automate on, right? I don't know if there's going to be a workflow action right out of the gate. I guarantee it will be eventually. And so just that ability to like trigger a workflow, red alert, Greg declined, he can't be there on time, make sure that we rebook it right away, right? So that we show up and do the work for the client. So really nice. I always like when these are baked in. We do a lot of this in different shapes and forms internally, where like if there's an approval that needs to occur, if there's an escalation that needs to occur, Greg can handle all that through the portal. I can handle the sales stuff direct through CRM. People are notified, but the workflow is happening all just in the application. So definitely a slick little update there.
Yeah. And if you actually, Tyler, if you want to scroll down for our YouTube viewers, to the bottom of the article, there should be a link to another article, the help documentation. Yeah. Because here it talks a little bit more about how you can enable it. And you can also add conditional filters around that approval process. So like you can say that, the ability for a salesperson, for a service technician to approve or reject should only be under these conditions. There's also an expiry configuration where you can say like the approval process is up there for like 10 minutes before. Now quick. It doesn't have to be very quick. But that would be like, so I don't know in the case of the expiry if that means that it will auto reject or auto set. I'm not quite sure.
Pull back, right? I'd assume it would like pull back.
That would be my guess. So, yeah. So that way you're not like, you can have it so that it doesn't just like sit in approval state for, forever. And you're like, I need George to tell me, can he do this or can he not do this? So you can have that just kind of automatically pull back.
Got it. And then, all of this is also going to be stored on the mobile app, so be able to do the approve, the reject, and the pullback from there. And then each of these is going to drop into your kind of master approval task section. There's something Zoho has in a lot of apps, where anything that like requires immediate action goes into a special place where you can do each and every one of those independently. So, and really nice.
It does look like under automatic expiry here at the bottom of the article, if no action is taken within the configured expiry period, the appointment status automatically changes to new, and the appointment will be unassigned. So so it's an auto pullback.
Got it. That makes sense. Well, sweet. So I think that covers it here for the news. As always, handful of stories that didn't make the cut for the show this week. If you ever care about those, just head on over to Zenatta.com, subscribe to the newsletter. We send them out every Monday morning in detail, kind of breakdowns, links, our thoughts. So make sure to sign up there if that's of interest. With that, we'll wrap out the news and jump right on over to our code share of the week. All right. What do we have this week, Greg?
So this week we have a code snippet from Christy, one of our developers here, who's done a lot of work in Zoho Books and inventory. So makes sense that her code share would be around syncing Zoho Books and CRM. The idea here is syncing the salesperson on a sales order in Books with the CRM account owner, right? And you could change this to be, if you want it to be, deal owner, contact owner, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But essentially it's keeping that whoever is the owner of an account or a deal or whatever in CRM, if there is a linked sales order, that there is a salesperson field, which is kind of the equivalent of owner over on the Zoho Book side. This keeps those synced up, right? So you for the particular sales order, this code is going from it's on the sales order and is like a schedule to kind of just like check if that's changed. So you get your sales order, find the associated contact with it, look at that contact's account, look at the donor, then you have to get a list of salespersons that are kind of like user records in Zoho Books, sort through those, find the now the salespeople do have CRM like reference IDs associated with them. So it's nice that you don't have to just do like a based off of name or email, whatever. But then you find your match and then you update your sales order accordingly. So
very nice. And this makes sense kind of in those workflows because I know, to my knowledge, there's no way to like autofill the salesperson just based on like who's making the sales order, right? It's one of those ones that sometimes you have to fight with a little bit, make sure the team assigns them manually. So here again, you do want to be careful. This only makes sense in a case where you know that all sales orders were processed by that account owner. Kind of if you have like that primary person for an account that you know is servicing them. But so, really slick. The one thing I'll call out here, just for those who haven't spent too much time writing code between those two applications, a lot of things in Zoho Books, if they exist because of a sync from CRM, are going to store those little reference IDs, right? So like you can get the CRM account ID from the Books customer, which means you don't have to do like a match on name. And I know you think, hey, the names are always going to match. They're syncing and stuff. What if they don't, man? What if someone changes it? It happened. Like you'd be surprised. So really nice to be able to use those. I'll keep in mind a little bonus nugget here. Bonus nugget. I don't like that. Inside of like most estimates, sales orders, invoices, if they're connected to a deal, they're going to store that as a reference ID as well. I think they call it ZCRM potential ID. But so do keep in mind that a lot of these exist and they make your code a lot cleaner if you do choose to use them. So we always recommend using those where possible. While we're over here, shameless plug for Club Zenatta. This is club.zenatta.com for Zoho nerds by Zoho nerds. This is where our, broader Zoho community come to ask questions and get answers about Zoho. Lots of answers from us, lots of answers from our community themselves. Again, lots of people just love nerding out over here. Totally free, so head on over to club.zenatta.com and sign up if that sounds interesting for you. Next up, I think we're ready to head to zenatta.com and check out what's new over there. All right. So full walkthrough on Avalara and Zoho. Again, Avalara is a third-party application, direct integration for Zoho Books, and soon for Zoho CRM, brought to you by Greg and Bruno. It's not a team. A little plug there. This is a way that you can just automate sales tax calculation. Big deal for those, especially who sell into many different states, cities, zip codes, as different types of items can have different taxes in those areas. Becomes, again, just a bit of pain and suffering to get all that set up manually. So we did a full run through on this, but thought, hey, some of you might be sick of hearing us talk. So here it is in writing for you over on the blog. Big shout out to Jed over on the Avalara team who joined for this webinar, John and Jed. Well worth watching if sales tax is becoming a pain in the butt for you. Again, like if you're a local business, like I've got a lawn mowing company. They just do Fort Collins lawn mowing, right? Like they probably don't need Avalara, right? Taxes are
Right.
simple. You're an e-commerce company selling hypothetically anywhere. You might want to take a look at this because it does do a lot of work for you. Well worth at least a consideration and a bit of an exploration. Nice write up here. Great video. Well worth taking a look at if taxes are on your mind.
John and Jed. Now that's a JJ I can get behind.
That's a good kind of JJ. That's a bit of an insider for the Zenatta team. The right kind of JJ. I think with that, we're ready to jump on over to YouTube and check out our tips of the week. All right. So first one here, how to actually use CRM for beginners. This is actually a piece of feedback I got in a YouTube comment. I don't remember exactly who asked for it, but someone was mentioning, hey, you guys have a bunch of great videos on how to configure CRM, right? How to set up these different functionalities and workflows and automations. What you don't have is a video of just like how a user uses CRM. Like when they log in, what do they do? So what I did here is made a quick video. Well, not quick. It's about 40 minutes. Covering like what all the modules kind of are, at least the core ones, what exists in a record, in a list, how to use custom views, how to do those quick filters, right? So the goal here is like, for a user of the CRM, obviously it's going to look and feel a little different. You're going to have customization, different fields, things like that. But how do I actually just like go in here and work a record, right? How do I convert a lead? What happens when I convert a lead? Relationships between different records. So thought this would be a good one just to run through in full detail, kind of a day in the life of using the CRM to actually like close a deal, qualify a lead, send a quote, right? A lot of those common activities. So really hoping that people find this one useful. Spent a little time on report dashboards and home pages as well, just to kind of connect all the dots. So definitely, let me know if this type of video is useful. I'd be happy to do more of them on desk projects, a lot of those other applications. Just started with CRM because I think that's what most people are using. Curious to get some feedback from the viewers on this one because it is just a little bit different than our normal videos that we put out.
Sort of a shiny video.
Yeah, sort of a shiny video. Just a little bit different and a little bit rarer. Next one up here, workflows and automations for Zoho Desk. So this one, again, just kind of a deep dive on all the different things that can be automated via workflows inside Zoho Desk. I also do give a couple examples in the back half here of like workflows that we set up for a lot of people, right? Things like when we reply to a ticket, update the status to pending client response. When you get a negative feedback rating, tell somebody about it, right? So some of those kind of core things that we set up really often. But again, real meat and potatoes here is just breaking down, what constitutes the if and what constitutes the then of the if-then statement that you're creating when you're adding workflows inside of Zoho Desk. All right. I think with that, we do actually have a question of the week. So let's head on over to our Azaz segment. Love it. Love that we're still getting some mileage out of that soundbite. So, question from Ming here over on Club Zenatta, kind of centered around Zoho inventory. So question is, I'm struggling with item inventory tracking reports with details. We used to use QuickBooks, and in QuickBooks, you can easily run reports for the in and out of each item. This is kind of like a stock inflow, stock outflow type of situation. Stock outflows can be like sales orders, invoices. Inflows could be purchase orders, bills, credit returns. In Zoho inventory, in the native reporting, you really can just go to inventory summary and see like what you got, right? But there isn't too much granularity in terms of inflows and outflows. And then the big one is if we ever have a mismatch, it's really hard to figure out what happened if you don't have access to those inflows and outflows. So really good question, Ming. The short answer is got to use analytics. Right now, there just isn't that capability. You'd probably be happy to learn that those tables do exist. When you sync inventory to analytics, you get your inflow, you get your outflow, you even get a FIFO mapping table if that's important for you as well. But Greg, I know we do a lot of work around this for clients to kind of fix this issue and kind of add the functionality that does seem to be a bit missing in inventory here.
Yeah, so the exactly what Ming is talking about here, where you want the specifics of all the transactions that are associated with a stock count, right? You go to an inventory summary report, you'll see your current stock counts and everything like that, but you want to know, well, what was the history of that stock count? What added to it, what took away from it, things like that.
How did I get here?
Yes, how did I get here? Record scratch. Oh, you're probably wondering how I got here. We've got
as an underrated, if anyone gets their reference, leave it in the comment. What underrated 90s sitcom did that record scratch joke come from? Love to see who knows that one.
But yeah, so analytics is the way to go if you really want to get that kind of granular detail in there. We've done that plenty of times. So if you need any help with it is going to use a lot of SQL. It's going to use a lot of SQL. So just know that, like, if you're a little uncomfortable with that, feel free to reach out to us. We'll help you get those set up, because we do them all the time.
You do have to kind of stack some tables together to really make it make sense, because inflows and outflows are two tables, but if you want to know what happened, you do in fact need them to be one table. So yeah, definitely a consideration there. Will require some SQL. I think with that, ready to wrap up the show for this week. Thank you, as always, for joining, Greg. I love the shark shirt. It's one of my favorites when it makes an appearance on the show. Some good colors there. But yeah, I think we're ready to wrap up for this week. So if you want to get in touch with myself or anyone on the Zenatta team, just head on over to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting. We'd love to talk. Over on the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered straight to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to also subscribe to our newsletter.
And head over to Club Zenatta, club.zenatta.com, to get access to the code shares we talked about, as well as staying up to date on all the latest and greatest in Zoho and Zenatta events. And if you really like Tyler's tip video this week on using the CRM and want to go even more in depth, check out our training courses around CRM, Desk, projects, and various marketing related apps. Head over to zenatta.com/training. Get your team trained up in less than a week.
What a beautiful segue that was. And as always, we appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We will see you next Friday.
The CRM Zen Show was produced by Podcaster Zen.
Little fun fact for our fade out here: the inventor of the Segway, to my understanding, died driving a Segway off a cliff to show how good the brakes are. Essentially a true story, is my understanding. So I know we're talking a different Segway, but I thought that would be a nice little closing comment.
Yeah, I'm going to call that our little trivia bonus nugget.